So I grew up, my mom and dad divorced when I was 2. My dad was very abusive to my mom. He broke her nose when she had me in her arms, and fell into a coffee table, and So my mom's like, no, this is not, I'm not going to have this, kind of lied. But anyways, so back to 12 years old, I started experimenting with marijuana. And what's weird is, like, whoever thought, you know what I mean? Like, you start experimenting with, marijuana because you think, oh, cool, I'm going to, try this.
Who introduced that to you?
So my parents smoked pot my whole life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they remember they were hippies, and so it was like,
Oh.
So, and then one day my mom went to work, and she left her pot pipe up in her room, and so I went up there and picked it up. It was still smoking, and started smoking it.
As well as the stats, because I think the stats just say a ton.
Cover at the U is a program with the University of Utah for students in recovery. This program, started by Jessica Cowan and Justin Hughes, is the first collegiate recovery program of its kind in the state of Utah. Hopeful students like Carmen will need this program to help them through their college careers. The goal for Recover at the U is to become an established resource center, such as the U's very own Wellness Center, Women's Resource Center, and the LGBT Resource Center.
Where are you going to be there, Kaylin?
For what?
For Rally for Recovery? Does your...
Down here at the Gateway Shopping Mall. I'm down here between 400 West and 500 West. I'm on 2nd South. And you look over here at the St. Vincent de Paul Center. There's just a lot of homeless people. This is right down here by the block. And amongst the drug addiction culture, it's mainly known as the place where you go to get drugs.
Recovery to me means being pro-social in the community.
Yeah.
It means being an active participant in my family's life. It means being punctual and present and at work and at home. Being in recovery means going to school and caring about my grades and caring about the community and other people. So recovery for me means a lot of things that I didn't do prior to being in recovery. First, that is getting into treatment, and then while you're in treatment, you're kind of you're identifying the thinking errors and the behaviors and all the things that you start breaking down as to why you began using in the first place, or what was, how you were coping. And then you kind of phase to, outside of treatment, to where you're kind of like finding your ground. Once you're, in the swing of that, then you're at a point where you really have a voice and to share with other people in the recovery community, the community that doesn't understand addiction, for people that don't understand mental health. And now I'm in a spot where it's, yes, I used to be this, but now I'm this. And that recovery is possible.
Odyssey House is a treatment community for people who want to seek recovery from drug addiction. Something I learned when I started working at Odyssey 8 months ago is that the majority of people don't want to be there at first. In most cases, treatment communities take in people who are offered residence there by a drug court judge. They then must succeed in treatment, return to the world where they use drugs, or go back to prison. 21 Utahns overdose per month as a result of prescription pain medication misuse. Misuse of medication can also be attributed to mental illness, and Utah is one of 10 states in the nation with the highest reported rate of mental illness.
Feel amazing about their life, about how they look, just inspired me to the change in people, to see people look at themselves and come in to sit in my chair and feel miserable. And 9 times out of 10, when I tell them my story of recovery, they'd be like, oh, my son or my daughter or my husband's friend's son's cousin is in addiction. So it was like I was able to be that difference. You know what I'm saying? I was able to
Make that and introduce them
Yep,
to the concept.
to the concept of recovery and how they could pursue it, you know what I mean? So,
And when you think about it, like what you've told me, the family members and the friends, they go through recovery with you, kind
they
of.
sure do, because recovery,
Yeah.
addiction is a family disease. It really
Yeah.
is. You know what I mean? And really getting people to realize that is tough sometimes because, you know, they don't see that. And so getting people to understand that everyone needs to recover, not just the addict or, you know, whatever, everybody.
When I came in, it was 2010. I was a heroin, cocaine addict. I was in and out of jail and was basically court ordered to do a inpatient treatment program. When I came into Odyssey, I had never heard of Odyssey. That was the quickest place that my parents could find, and so I went with it, and I had no choice. It was either there or go back to jail, and so I did it. And really, I was a knucklehead in treatment, so I had a lot of learning lessons and a lot of things to look at, and a lot of behaviors to change, and a lot of the way I was thinking was very. I've been doing it for so long that it was just natural. The question was no. I was not open to treatment. I was sneaky. I was constantly breaking rules. I was constantly having to restart the program because of rule breaking. And it, once you start internalizing some of the things that are happening and why they're happening, and when you look at it as to, okay, this is what I do outside of treatment, but on the outside, to cope or to deal with things, I use drugs. So here I'm not using drugs, and I either get to look at this, or I can continue doing what I'm doing, and I'll either be in treatment for the rest of my life, or I can start, addressing some of my issues and addressing some of my behaviors, and that's what I did. And I spent 27 months in treatment, a year and a half in the house.
Before Voyage, or
so
a year and a half?
I was here for a long
18
stretch.
months.
But I needed that. It takes years to develop, the habits I was doing, and I knew that it was going to take a lot to get back out of there. I had family, but they don't keep me sober, so I knew that wasn't an option. All my friends were still doing their thing or moving on with their lives, and so I really had nothing. And so I knew that if I wanted to have a chance at going back to school and getting my life back on track, I needed to do it here.
Then my mom sent me here, and I got in a lot of trouble because my dad was like molesting me, and he was just crazy back then. You know what I mean?
Did he? So by molesting, do you mean like rape?
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
And so then, by the time I was 18 years old, I had ran away for the last time and moved down here to Salt Lake, and it was on and popping. I started using cocaine. My roommates did cocaine. So I never felt okay unless I was on something. Every day I woke up and I looked to buy marijuana, or I'd go look to buy something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was my life. You know what I mean? Like, I always had to be high or on something. And so, I gotta part this out now real quick. And so, if I wasn't high on something, I was looking for it. And then when I learned that I could sell my body to get money is when it really became, hell.
That was because it was an efficient way to.
Well, because I could sell my body, no problem,
And
you know.
then buy drugs, no problem.
Well,
And everything.
yeah, I could sell my body because I had learned to detach myself from any feeling, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that was...
Was that through the escort service?
Yes, through a local escort.
Okay.
I think they're still around, too. That's what's crazy. It's just legalized prostitution, you know what I mean?
Huh.
So, yeah.
Wow.
So I started to do that and lived on my own, and made a lot of money. For someone my age, at 18 years old, I was making about $5,000 a week.
My main goal is to, continue finding peace, to be okay being in recovery, and, rolling with the punches and going, making it through the stressful days, and eventually, finding some, peace and happiness, and that continuing, because it's life. Life has its ups and downs, and it still has its ups and downs when you get sober. So, it's just dealing with it in a very different way, a healthy way.
So, what is your motto about life now? After your whole recovery journey, what's your motto?
To live my life according to the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. Also to err as human, so I don't have to be perfect all the time. I also believe that you need to have compassion for people in recovery and provide them with the journey and the hope, the courage, strength, and hope. So that's my motto now.